Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we today? Well, as you can see, as always, it's a beautiful day here in Macardo, here in Zakynthos. And we are now into day 9 of the lockdown. People are up and about, doing their jobs, doing their work. There goes a farmer on his tractor. There's some chickens down there having a little bit of peck about on Yanni's new lawn. And then there is the lovely Sandy. He's out and about, trolling around. Hello, fella. How you doing? Climbing on Yanni's lovely newly done hedge, which he's actually trimmed that hedge. Absolutely lovely. Look at that ledge. Look at that edge on that hedge. That rhymes, doesn't it? Anyway, let's go and have a look at the news, at what's been going on. Oh, let's have a quick look at the hills. Good indication of the weather for the day. And again, lovely and clear, blue skies, absolutely lovely. Can't believe it's November. Can you? Absolutely fantastic. This is our what do you call it? These are the vines, and as you can see, the vines are all empty at the moment. Getting ready for next year. Vines over there are empty, yeah, absolutely. In fact, the oranges and lemons should be starting to come through soon. And you can probably just see some oranges just down on the trees over there. The sun's not too far in your face, because it is absolutely glorious out here. I'm still out here in a t-shirt, and it is November. Absolutely fantastic. Right, let's have a look at the news, because a lot has been going on in the last 24 hours. Lots of information for you, which I think some of it you'll find very interesting indeed. Anyway, who have we got down here? Oh, there's Mr. Boots down there, having a little bit of a mengabout. Hello, fella. How you doing, Mr. Booty Boots? Are you all right? He'll probably jump up on me as I'm doing the broadcast. Right, let's just switch the screen round, which I've now noticed I can't actually see the controls now for that. Where is that? Controls? Oh, no. Continue. Oh, I always hate it when the controls disappear and then you can't find them. Just turn them around to basically put my face on. Oh, God. Oh, no. All right, I'm going to continue without the controls. You're just going to get a lovely view of the garden, okay? So anyway, 9th day of lockdown. Can I just say to all those people on the Greece Bulletin Board, nice to have you with us, and also nice for you also for the comments and stuff on the broadcast yesterday. Really greatly appreciated. And don't forget the Greece Bulletin Board, you can actually watch this on YouTube, and you can watch this on YouTube wherever you are. I normally upload the broadcasts on there just as a record, so it's easier to cross-reference. And thank you for letting me go on to the Greece Bulletin Board. Anyway, I've also got to say a quick hello to Mike Gantry. Yesterday, Mike was telling you about this unusual vehicle that was driving around in the early hours of the morning where he lived, and he sort of went out there to check, and the vehicle hurriedly drove off. White van in the Amberlockley area. Anyway, Mike says, I got to the bottom of it. He says, it's all right. It was a false alarm. So he said, okay. I said, that's all right, mate. No problems with that. Yeah, but a false alarm is better than waking up and finding hooded guys in your house with baseball bats trying to rob you. So at the end of the day, still be on your guard. People have been robbed within the last few weeks in their homes. So once again, it's just one of them things that happens here in the winter. Just be on your guard, all right, for people living here on the island and anywhere else where you might be in the world as well. Right, okay, let's have a look at the COVID stats in the last 24 hours, which are interesting. They are down a bit, all right. Yesterday, then, they announced there were 2,835 new cases in Greece. Which is now bringing the total cases since the pandemic started to 72,510. Now, there's been one new case here in Zakynthos, no information as to who that person might be. And also out of interest, there's been 8 new cases in Corfu as well. So the cases are down at the moment in Greece on yesterday, but they are still being very high with over 2,000 cases a day. And we've also had, unfortunately, 38 new deaths as well within the last 24 hours. That's bring our death total now to over 1,000 to 1,035 since the pandemic started. Now, the average age of people were from 79 years of age. They'd also had underlying health conditions as well. Secondary health conditions, and they obviously succumbed to the virus because obviously their immune systems were not as good. Anyway, critical cases at the moment, that's up on yesterday. We've now got 366 critical cases across the country. Again, they are people over the average age is over 70 with underlying health issues. But as I said a couple of days ago, doctors here are concerned that they are seeing the age of that slowly coming down at the moment, with people in their 40s, in their 60s, and even one person at the age of 18 with the symptoms. Now, because of this, there's been updated guidelines from the Greek health people. They've said that people who have been diagnosed with coronavirus must now quarantine for a minimum of 10 to 20 days, depending on the severity of their symptoms. Now, asymptomatic people, that means people who are not showing any signs, COVID-19 carriers, and those with mild symptoms, they're now being advised to self-quarantine then for up to 10 days. Okay. Now, the end of the quarantine period. So if you think you might have had it and you're coming to the end of the time of your quarantine, now the end of the quarantine must take place at least 3 days without fever or without having to take any anti-fever medication. So you basically got to be clear by 3 days before you're allowed to come out of that quarantine. Just remind you, we are still in lockdown at the moment with our nightly curfew as well. Now, for people who've got heavier symptoms, the minimum quarantine period now is 14 to 20 days. And people who've got suppressed immune systems, again, it's 14 to 20 days for those people as well. So there you go. And the criteria for them, again, is 3 days without fever or using medication before they are allowed out of their self-imposed quarantine. Anyway, we got some update yesterday as well. The Minister of Education announced yesterday lunchtime that the elementary schools and kindergartens that we were talking about yesterday and nurseries will now close from Monday, and that will be up until the 27th, including the 27th of November. However, special education schools will be excluded from the measure. Remember, they were closing the schools because they basically didn't want parents to be contracting the virus while dropping the kids off at school. Not that the children were in any danger. It was more the parents bringing the kids to school were at danger. Anyway, also as well, there was talk of further tightening of the lockdown measures, which are going to be decided next week. But stricter travel restrictions and extending the lockdown until December the 10th are widely anticipated if the situation shows no signs of improvement. In fact, Jane did raise a good point, saying that hasn't really been allowing time for things to settle before a decision is changed or made. You know, 1 minute we're doing this and then next minute we're doing that. Everything sort of keeps moving backwards and forwards all the time. Sometimes it's quite hard to keep up with what's going on, with what's happening. Anyway, the Secretary General of Civil Protection, Nikos Hadrialis, stated yesterday that the absolute necessity for all of us to restrict travel, because by restricting travel we limit the spread of transmission on the virus. Also, interestingly as well, the Greek Public Health were offering free drive-through rapid testing as well in areas of the cities of Larsia and Zakynthos, which are in the northern part of Greece. The tests were being conducted at the Arsia covered market and also opposite the Aox football stadium in Athena. So again, being very proactive there with drive-through testing. God knows what happens if you test positive as you're driving through. Probably a quick drive home, probably. Anyway, Also, interestingly, looking at money that's being provided for people who are being affected by the virus, the Minister of Rural Development and Food, Makis Vordis, approved the payment of state aid to coastal fishermen. Now, they are going to receive over 11 million euros, and money was credited. In fact, they received over 11 million euros, and the money was credited to their beneficiaries last Friday. So the fishermen are getting some money. He said in a relevant statement, Mr. Vordis pointed out that the ministry will continue to take initiatives so that no Greek farmer is left unprotected against the difficulties caused by the effects of coronavirus in our country. He also said this is the first time that the coastal fisheries sector have actually received any form of support. And I do know that it is a hard life for the fishermen sometimes here. We have a friend whose husband was a fisherman, and it was quite a challenge for them, not just within doing the job, but just the paperwork that's involved to be a fisherman in the regards of catches and everything else, and regards the law. Again, it is quite a hard job, actually. It looks a very romantic job, but trust me, over here, the Ionian can be quite a horrible sea weather-wise, as what can the North Sea be for our fishermen in the UK. Anyway, another little bit of news, which is nothing to do with coronavirus, which is, I think, of interest for some people as well. The Zakynthos police last week had 2 days of training in dealing with domestic violence. The training had been organised by the Regional Police Directorate of the Ionian Islands through distance learning. Now, the training programme covered the legislative framework for dealing with domestic violence and protection of victims. The training programme was attended by police officers and staff of the newly established domestic violence services of the Ionian Island, which includes the police departments of Corfu, Lefkada and Kefalonia. Now, this, to be honest, is a very, very good step. There's always been this sort of grey area with domestic violence here in Greece. In some ways, being a little bit old school in some respects, it wasn't probably taken as seriously as what it should be, has been. And a lot of the help for people suffering from domestic violence has been mainly through self-help. People obviously trying to protect each other, women obviously trying to get away from husbands, obviously getting smuggled off the island. I know with a lot of expat women here who've had relationships that break down, the husband can use the "you're not taking the children away" card, and in some cases where women have left the island because with their children being brought back, obviously for under the 1922 Hague Agreement, which basically brings the children back, the mother coming back, and then obviously going back into a violent household. So anyway, this is an absolutely fantastic step that the police, the Greek police here, are taking this more seriously, and that they have now created a specialisation within the Greek police to deal with this. And just looking last night, I was just looking through the domestic violence figures. Domestic abuse soared to 34.5% during the height of the Greece's economic crisis between 2014 and 2018, and in parts of the country, there were actually 3,134 cases of domestic cases that were reported. This doesn't mean that it's not going on. These are reported cases involving 4,243 victims. Now, 87% said that they were being abused by their husbands, and 64% were mothers whose children were witnessing the violence as well. So I think that's a really good step here for Greece. And I should think there'll be some people here who've had experience of domestic violence that will also be thinking this is a really good thing, because it was always sometimes a bit of a battle with the authorities here. And sometimes the men had, shall we say, just a little bit too much power in that department, and the women obviously felt a bit helpless. There has been a women's refuge here on Zakynthos for a number of years now, and I would think that they're probably delighted that the police, the local police, are now going to be taking that more serious, and also the police in general across Greece are going to be taking that more seriously as well. So anyway, let's have a quick look, see who's tuning in this morning. I've got some funny comments coming up here. Margaret Miller is tuning in. Hello, Margaret. Nice to see you. Steve Lee is watching as well. Nice to see you, Steve. Alan Woodhouse is also tuning in. Amanda Gregory up the hill. I'm giving her a wave because she says, yes, it's lovely here. She says, give you a wave and a love. Thank you, my darling. I appreciate that. Lyndon Erison over there in Wales is watching. Is the weather as nice where you are in Wales as it is where we are today, Lyndon? I'll be curious to know. Claire Thompson, she's also tuning in. I think that's the Claire we saw the other day in Lidl. Nice to see you there, tuning in as well. Michael Woods tuning in. Nice to have you. Dennis Patrick Carroll over there in Cyprus is tuning in as well. Nice to have you with us. Brett Weston is also tuning in. Maureen from Round the Back is also tuning in as well. Nice to see you as well. Amanda also says, Marley doing well. He weighs 1 kilo now. Oh, bless him. Looking to introduce him to cream rice next week. Lucky him, living on ambrosia cream rice. Are you getting the stuff from the Iceland or are you making it yourself? I'd like to know. Also, Andy Johnson, Raff Reg buddy, he's tuning in. Chick Ballantyne, another Raff Reg buddy, tuning in as well. Nice to see you. David Bowen, another Raff Reg buddy, tuning in. Ian Booth also tuning in from Huddersfield. What's the weather like in Huddersfield? Tim Crystal's telling me, our Elvis, that morning Ginge, it's a cold and wet day in Oxford. Also, Phil Dilby is tuning in as well. Nice to have you tuning in, Phil, from Broadstairs down there in Kent. What's the weather like down there, fella? Robert Earp is also tuning in. He says, morning, Ginge, rough night in Wales, strong winds, high tides. Take care. Thank you. Well, we certainly haven't had that here. We were watching the blue lights up and down the road last night during the curfew, so we're not sure what's been going on here in the village because, again, you're not allowed out of your house after 9 o'clock at night here until 5 o'clock in the morning, unless you are going for a medical emergency or you are going to work or you're taking your dog for a walk in the early hours close to your home. All right, so they got that covered. Anyway, Liz Crystal is also watching from Oxford. Lovely to have you tuning in as well. Brian Wenlock is watching. Ian Booth says, it's my birthday. Oh, Boothie, it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, mate. I'm not going to ask how old you are because I don't want to depress you. As Boothie would say, the glass is half full rather than half empty. I hope your lad's doing all right as well. I've not seen any DJ mixes for him, or has he moved on to something else? Anyway, Alf Ling is also watching as well. Nice to have you joining us, Alf. Can I just say, absolutely fantastic news yesterday. My show that I did on Friday, show number 10, has charted. Yeah, it's charted. Number 37 in the pop charts, number 8 in the reggae charts, and I think that's the highest opening number I've had in any of the Mixcloud chart categories, and also number 33 in the soul chart as well. So I'm really chuffed about that. Thank you for those people who've been tuning in and liking it as well. I don't know how Mixcloud adjudicates the scoring system, but I look at all the hundreds and hundreds of DJs and some pretty big name DJs as well who don't seem to chart at all. It does make me feel rather chuffed that somehow I just keep charting. It's really good. Now, just remind you as well, my next broadcast of my show online is going to be on Tuesday, not Wednesday. Tuesday, not Wednesday, because Wednesday is Lady Jane's birthday and we just want a day completely free, no interruptions. We've got a little party planned on our balcony with just the two of us, and the cats can look through the glass. It's where they can see the food being laid out and not actually get to any of it, and just have a pleasant afternoon. And hopefully the weather's going to stay like this, although it is forecasting rain for next week. But at the moment it was forecasting rain for today as well. But look at the clouds and the sunshine. Absolutely fantastic. I hope it stays like that. Oh, quick hello to Stu Davenport, who's also tuning in as well. Right, that's it from me. Wherever you are today, have a very pleasant Sunday. I will see you again tomorrow. More news, more updates, find out what's been happening here in Greece and around Greece itself, around Zakynthos as well. And you have a good day, stay safe and enjoy yourselves. I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.